Welcome to this session. Oh, my chair just suddenly went crashing down. Anyway, so welcome to this session on CSAT PYQs. आज हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं इंग्लिश के कुछ PYQs आपके लिए. ये CSAT 2023 और 24 के पेपर्स में से हैं. So yeah, I hope you're joining in and I hope you did watch the previous two sessions. मैं होप कर रही हूँ कि पीछे वाले दो सेशंस आपने देखे होंगे और जो क्वेश्चंस मैंने डिस्कस किए थे वो सॉल्व भी किए होंगे. इफ यू हैवंट डन दैट टिल नाउ, डू मेक श्योर यू आर डूइंग दैट, राइट. आज के सेशन में हम बात करने वाले हैं करियो मेरा पेन चल नहीं रहा है. आज के सेशन में हम बात करने वाले हैं कुछ और PYQs की. अगर आप मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं और देख पा रहे हैं तो फटाफट से मुझे एक यस करके भेज दो ताकि मुझे पता तो चल जाए कि हम on the same page हैं, that you can hear me and see me. मैं अपने all right, चलो मैं audible और visible होंगी. I hope so. Can you see me? Can you hear me? All of that. Also remember to hit like, share and subscribe. फटाफट से like कर दो सेशन को, share कर दो ताकि और लोग भी ज्वाइन कर सकें, और सब्सक्राइब करो बिकॉज सब्सक्राइब किए बिना आप हमारे चैट को ज्वाइन नहीं कर सकते. So please do make sure you're doing that. My name is Abhilasha and I'll take you through these PYQs. Let's get started. तो अपने पहले वाले उस पे चलते हैं. ये हमारा पहला पैसेज है. हिस्ट्री ऑफ साइंस इज द रियल हिस्ट्री ऑफ मैनकाइंड. तो साइंस की हिस्ट्री is the real history of mankind. Okay. In this striking epigram is a short witty statement. A 19th century writer links science with its background. Like most epigrams, its power lies in emphasizing by contrast an aspect of truth that may be easily overlooked. In this case, it is easy to overlook the relations between science and mankind and to treat science as some abstract third party which can sometimes be praised but frequently and conveniently blamed for the horrors of war. Science and mankind cannot be divorced from time to time at man's convenience. You cannot separate them, right? Alag nahi kar sakte hain. Yet we have seen that in spite of countless opportunities of improvement, the opening years of the present period of civilization have been dominated by international conflict. Is this inevitable? Is this the inevitable result of progress of science or does the fault lie elsewhere? तो ऑथर आपसे पूछ रहा है कि भाई क्या ये साइंस की वजह से हो रहा है या फिर इसकी गलती किसी और की ही है और साइंस को ब्लेम कर रहे हैं. Let's take a look at our options. Question says, which of the following are conveyed by the author of the passage? So what is it that the author is trying to tell you? Without science, mankind could not have continued to exist till today. But this is not something that the author is trying to tell us. Is it science? It is the science that will ultimately determine the destiny. Again, the author does not say anything like that. So the answer will be D, neither one nor two. Author ने कहीं भी नहीं कहा है कि साइंस के बिना मैनकाइंड आज तक एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता, और ना ही उसने ये कहा है कि साइंस ही अल्टीमेटली डिसाइड करेगा मैनकाइंड की डेस्टिनी. Let's go to the second question. Based on the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Some assumptions have been made. What are they? Horrors of modern life are inevitable result of the progress of science. That's the first one. That horrors of modern life are result, again, the passage does not talk about the horrors of modern life, so not one. The aspect of truth likely to be overlooked is that science is what man has made it. So here, this is something that you could have understood from the passage, and this is the assumption that is correct. Answer hoga B2. Okay, only with long experience and opening of his wares on many a beach where his language is not spoken will the merchant come to know the worth of what he carries and what is parochial and universal in his choice. So he has to have experience and he has to go and sell, and then only people will understand. Such delicate goods as justice, love, honor, courtesy, All the things that we care for are valid everywhere, but they're molded and differently handled and sometimes nearly unrecognizable if you meet them in a foreign land. And the art of learning fundamental common values is perhaps the greatest gain of travel. So of those who wish to live at ease. So if you're somebody you want to travel and be comfortable, then you have to learn the fundamental common values like justice, love, honor, courtesy, etc. Right? Let's take a look at this question. When we meet other people, we learn to differentiate between, what is it that we are learning to differentiate between? Imagination and understanding. But he did not say that. Communities and nationalities, again, he did not say that. Local values and universal values, yes. What is parochial and what is universal in his choice? So he says that. Friends and foes, no, he doesn't say that. The correct answer hoga local values and universal values. Same passage. With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Which assumptions hai? Let's take a look at our assumptions. Travel leads to an understanding of humans. Yes, we have understood that from the passage. One is valid. Look at two. Travel helps those who wish to learn fundamental common values. Yes, it does. So second is also something that you can interpret. A person with long experience in travel can resolve differences among people. That's not something that the passage says. Passage में ये कहीं नहीं लिखा है कि अगर आप travel करते हैं तो आप दूसरों के differences resolve कर सकते हैं. So 3 will not be the right answer. So I'm eliminating all of these options. So option 1, which will be the correct answer. Let's look at the next one. Question number 5. Here's the next passage. Conventional classrooms, by emphasizing fixed duration over learning effectiveness, design themselves to various outcomes. So conventional classrooms can have various outcomes, variable outcomes. The tyranny of the classroom, so sadly, is that every learner is subjected to the same set of lectures in the same way for the same duration. Everybody. So in the end, few learners will shine, some will survive, some are left behind. After that fixed duration, the classroom model moves on because they don't have the time to think about those who are left behind. So we end up with 10% employability in our graduates after 15 years of learning. Repeating the same script in the realm of skill education will not produce different results. So therefore, there is a problem here. Now, which of the following statement best reflects the most logical and rational inference that can be made? Let's take a look. In conventional classrooms, the central goal is duration of learning rather than attainment of competency. Yes, that is what, because we are focusing on time. Conventional classroom encourage one size fit all approach. Yes, that also can be assumed. Both of these can be taken from this part of the passage. So answer will be C, both 1 and 2. Let's look at the next one. Based on the above passage, following assumptions have been made. What are these assumptions? Okay. So, as a large number of workers in our country are employed in unorganized sector, India does not need to change its present conventional classroom system. But why don't we need to change? This is not mentioned and this cannot be assumed. Author is saying the present system is not very good. We must help people get better. Even with its present conventional classroom system of education, India produces sufficient number of skilled workers to fully realize the benefits of demographic dividend. But what about education? Again, this is not something that we can assume. So 1, 2, both will be incorrect. So answer is going to be neither 1 nor 2. Okay, I hope you got that. Alright guys, I hope you are stopping the video wherever you have to watch it and then carrying on. I am just going to go through the passages very quickly one by one. So here is the next passage. When a child reaches adolescence, there's apt to be a conflict between the parent and the child. Why? Because the parent considers himself to be by now, the child now considers himself capable of managing his own affairs while the parents are filled with parental concern, which is actually love of power. Now, parents usually think that the various moral problems are peculiarly their province or their area. The options, they are very dogmatic, so the young will not confide and will do their own thing secretly, right? Let's take a look at the questions. What are the assumptions here? The adolescent does not feel comfortable with his parents because they tend to be dominating and assertive. Yes, they're so dogmatic, right? So one can be a choice for us, right? The adolescent of modern time does not have much respect. Now, respect was not mentioned anywhere in the passage, therefore 2 is incorrect. So answer will be, okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 8, what is the central idea of this passage? Okay, let's take a look. Parents in general may not be of much help when children are on their way to becoming adults. Yes, that is something that is quite possibly the right answer. When children reach adolescence, involvement of parents is unnecessary, but that's not something that the author says. Modern day nuclear families are not capable. The author did not speak of modern day nuclear families, so C is not right. In modern societies, adolescents tend to be stubborn, disobedient, and again, this was not something that was mentioned. So the best answer will be option number A for us. Okay. All right, let's look at this passage. Where an international team of scientists pumped carbon dioxide water mixture into underground basalt rocks, basic chemistry took over. The acidic mixture dissolved the rock's calcium and magnesium and formed limestone. So carbon dioxide is converted into stone, exclaimed the scientist. Okay. So what is the most logical, rational, and practical suggestion that is implied? It is a cheap and practical method to produce limestone at commercial level, but please understand they're doing it underground. It is going to be difficult. So not a cheap practical method. Author also did not say that. This can be used as one of the methods of carbon sequestration. Yes, that's probably true, but we don't know. I'll put a star on this. Basalt rock can be made a good source of calcium and magnesium, but no, it is actually turning into something else, limestone, so of no use. Good rock dissolving acid can be produced by mixing carbon dioxide. No, that's not dissolving it, it's converting it. So no, not D. That's incorrect. So best answer will be option number B for us. All right, let's look at this last question. Geographers analyze 175 satellite images of ocean color, which is an indication of phytoplankton productivity at the ocean surface, and found that the giant icebergs are responsible for storing up to 20% of carbon. The researchers discovered that melting water from these icebergs contains iron and nutrients, supports unexpectedly high levels of phytoplankton growth. All right, let's take a look based on what are the assumptions. Giant icebergs have a bearing on primary productivity and food chain of the Southern Ocean. Yes, because when they melt, they have nutrients. So high level of phytoplankton growth is happening. So yes, they have, and that phytoplankton is eaten by the animals, the marine animals. Melting of giant icebergs can produce climate change effect. We don't know this. We know that it will have some climate change effect, but we don't know if the author says it in this. Actually, the author doesn't say this in the passage. So therefore, 2 is incorrect. I'm eliminating. So your answer is going to be option 1 only. All right, guys, that brings us to the correct answers here. They are, you can of course check. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Also, guys, the good thing is that what you can do is you can drop a comment in the chat box, or you can put a comment or a question in the chat box anytime you want to. So just feel free to ask and just do that. All right, let's come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for joining in. Please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. I love that. Remember that. Okay. All right. I will see you next week with another session of PYQs for CSAT. Thank you. My name is Abhilasha, and I'll see you around. Bye bye. Adios, my amigos.